Good evening and welcome to the Tuesday, September 24th, 2024 meeting of the Long Meadow School Committee. School committees and other public bodies may continue to hold remote meetings through March 31st, 2025 under legislation enacted on March 29th, 2023. The statute, Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023, extends quorum reductions for remote meetings. All votes while there is remote participation must be made by roll call vote. This meeting is being recorded and aired live on LCTV. We will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll begin with correspondence.
The following correspondence will be recorded. An emailed note from Mr. Jeffrey Klotz dated September 18, 2024 regarding field trips.
Thank you. We have approval of minutes. Next, there's a recommended motion.
I move that the school committee approve the minutes to the September 16, 2024 school committee meeting as presented.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. Adam?
Yay.
Zach?
Yes.
Michaela?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
And yes for me as well. We don't have anyone at home, correct? All right. Moving on to public speak. Do we have anyone joining us at home for public speak? I don't think we have anybody. If you do, raise a hand. All right, seeing no public speak, we find ourselves with business with guests, which brings us to our joint meeting with the Select Board. So I'll give you guys a moment to call your portion of the meeting to order, and then
Great.
we'll jump into our work.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having us today. I will open up a meeting of the Long Meadow Select Board. I'm Select Board Chair Vineet Hemavati. Members, just please respond in the affirmative when I call your name. Dan Zwerko. Here. Andrew Lamb. Here. Mark Gold.
Here.
Josh Levine.
Here.
All right, we're set to go.
All right, wonderful. So the school committee and select board are meeting tonight to vote on the applicants that we interviewed last week. Before we do that, I want to just dive into a couple of things procedurally and also a note of thanks to our candidates. So we'll start with procedure first. We have worked together, the select board and the school committee, to come up with a voting process that includes some of the following things. First off is that there will be no discussion before the round of voting, prior to the first round of voting. Everyone will cast their votes on their ballot. They have a ballot in front of them. I think everybody got one when they came in, so we're good with that. And we will then collect the votes. So select board members, you can send your votes down to Vineet. School committee folks, you can send yours down to me. We will read aloud everybody's vote and record what we have. If any candidate receives 6 votes, they are thereby appointed to the school committee, and we are done. If we need to, we'll do a second round. If we are ready to move on to a second round, then whichever candidate had either 0 votes and any candidate with the lowest votes would be eliminated, and then we'll vote a second round, same as the first, and on we go. Questions about the procedure from anyone? Yes.
One vacancy?
Yes.
Oh, I thought it was 2.
No.
Okay.
Quick decision.
There we go. That makes things a lot more simple. I was looking at this and I'm like, I don't think this. Okay. Hey, that's great. All my questions are done.
All right.
And so
I mean,
Jamie will not be joining tonight. so
He
we've
is
got 10
unable to
10
join. He's
votes. Okay.
traveling, yes. Sorry. Any other questions about procedure? Okay, so before we start then, just I know our candidates are not here in the room with us, but hopefully they are able to tune in from home, and just a really big thank you to everyone who stepped forward to fill this vacancy. When you saw a need arise in your community, you stepped forward with a willingness to serve your community, and that is extremely commendable. And each of you brought impressive experience and expertise to us. We really enjoyed getting to know a little bit more about you and hearing what your thoughts were, and just a big thank you to everyone for taking the time to come out and meet with us. It really was, as Mr. Lamb said, an embarrassment of riches. So we appreciate that. All right, then we are ready. We're going to dive into our first vote. So you have 3 voting ballots in front of you. Take one, jot down who you are first voting for, and then we will begin from there.
You'll have to put your name on the ballot.
Your name is already at the top.
Oh, it's
Yep.
already there. Sorry.
Yeah, put an X on whoever you're voting for.
Apparently I needed more
Yeah,
instruction.
whatever works.
Okay.
So long as I can see who you voted for, we're good. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And lady.
Thank you. Kind of have even numbers in the end here. Do you want to kick us off then?
Sure.
All right.
Are we gonna alternate, or should I?
We'll
just read them?
alternate, but I'm literally just going with whatever order they happen to be in.
So Josh Levine cast his vote for Estelle Jordan.
All right. I have Adam Rosenblum, also for Estelle Jordan. Go ahead.
Okay, Dan Zwerko cast his vote for Estelle Jordan.
All right. I have, sorry, hold on. Zach Verdin for Bizra Abibi. Where are you, Zach? Oh, there you are. Okay.
Andrew Lamb cast his vote for Estelle Jordan.
All right. Julie Morgan for Georgia Robert.
Okay. Mark Gold cast his vote for Georgia Robert.
Mark Gold. Myself, Nicole Chonier, cast my vote for Estelle Jordan.
And I cast my vote beneath him for Georgia Robert.
For Georgia Robert, beneath. And Michaela Fitzgerald, also for Georgia Robert. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 for Georgia Robert, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for Estelle Jordan. So we will head into a second round. We do not have any votes for Sarah Fernandez. So we can remove Sarah per our voting plans. And we'll head into a second round.
And
Bizrat
will be
Abibi?
eliminated, yeah. Yep.
Okay. So we are down to Estelle Jordan and Georgia Robert. We'll hang on to those first ones. And we're ready. Go ahead and vote your second round. Thank you. Thank you.
Sir.
Thank you.
Sorry.
All right, so, round 2.
All right, I'll start. Dan Zwerko cast his vote for Estelle Jordan.
All right. Zach Verdin for Estelle Jordan.
Josh Levine for Estelle Jordan.
Oops, sorry, upside down. Adam Rosenblum, also for Estelle Jordan.
Andrew Lamb for Estelle Jordan.
And Michaela Fitzgerald for Georgia Robert.
Mark Gold for Georgia Robert.
Where'd we go? All right. Julie Morgan for Georgia Robert.
Myself, Vinith Hemavati for Georgia Robert.
And myself, Nicole Chonier for Estelle Jordan. And is that everybody? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. Our second round nets us with a candidate. Estelle Jordan, 6. Georgia Robert with 4. So thank you. We are ready to then appoint Estelle Jordan to the school committee. And thank you to the select board for taking the time to work alongside us with this. We appreciate the opportunity to work collaboratively and for being there, letting us attend your meeting last week to go over the interviews, and also for being here tonight with us.
Great, yeah, thank you so much.
Yep, absolutely.
Will somebody be contacting her to let her know to be sworn into the?
Correct, yes. Yep, we'll make sure to reach out so that she's
Okay, so
able to
somebody
join
from the
us
school
for our next
department
meeting.
will contact her.
Correct,
I think I
yep.
just saw her picking up food at Lowe's.
Oh, there you go.
I can run.
And before we adjourn, I would
Yeah.
just, I think we've said this over and over again, that we had great quality of candidates, and I would really hope that the folks that were not selected tonight think about, possibly running for school committee in the future when there's an opening, or, seeking an appointment for a different committee in town, because, they all gave great interviews, have great, resumes, and also have shown a commitment to our town, so I would really encourage them to do that. And
This is the hardest decision I've made.
Right?
In a long time. Very
Yeah.
tough.
I would agree with
Great
that.
candidates.
We really did have excellent candidates, and I look forward to working with each of them in a future capacity, whether it's on this committee or any other committee or volunteer in town. We really appreciate their willingness to serve across the board.
great.
thoughts?
So,
I'll move we adjourn.
second. All right. All those in favor? All right. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you so much. Have a lovely evening.
Efficient.
2 rounds. We didn't run out of paper.
This counts as one of our monthly meetings.
Breaking the records. Oh, thank you.
That's right, your average timing of meeting goes down.
Yeah, big time.
All right, so we are heading forward into school committee announcements and recognitions. School committee chair report, I don't have much to say. Thank you, gentlemen, have a lovely evening. Other than to say that the ribbon cutting at the new playground at Blueberry Hill last week was really the highlight of the week. It is wonderful. It was wonderful to see so many children zipping around the playground, enjoying themselves and having just a lovely time playing together. The construction of this new playground has really been a community effort over years of time, and so just a huge thank you to all of the families and students and town officials and employees who've worked so hard to make this possibility for our town. I'm really, really proud of the way that Long Meadow put equitable play as a real investment and a meaningful thing for our community. So thank you to everyone for that. It was wonderful to be there for. We look forward to a few more ribbon cuttings and openings of playgrounds in the coming weeks. I think you have something related to one of our playgrounds in your superintendent's report. Perfect. Any other school committee recognitions or announcements? All right, seeing none, we head into other reports. Superintendent.
Sure. You have a copy of my report in your packet. I'll highlight a few of the items. As far as the middle school project, we had a productive meeting last week of the Long Meadow Fire Department, Long Meadow Police Department, DPW, Town Manager's Office, Colliers, the design team, school administration to talk about to review the proposed site plan. And it was an opportunity for us to really dig in and think about vehicular and bus circulation, pedestrian access, drop-off and pickup considerations, and all sorts of traffic calming measures that could be integrated into the design of the Williams Middle School site. So I think it was helpful to the design team to hear the needs and requirements of the fire department and police department and DPW. So that was great to finally get everybody in one room. We had met virtually, but to be in one place was very productive. Tomorrow, we have a meeting with the MSBA's Facilities Assessment Subcommittee, and that's an opportunity for that subcommittee to learn about our project before our preferred report goes to the full MSBA board in October. So it's a bit of a information gathering opportunity for that MSBA subcommittee. Curriculum and instruction, MCAS results were released today. We had embargoed access to them beginning last week. We've already begun the task of digging into district and school results. Families will get individual reports sometime in October. Typically, we bring an MCAS report to the school committee, which we would be prepared to do at your next meeting if it is of interest. And I'd add that if there's anything particular that you would like us to look at with regard to those achievement and accountability results, let us know, and we'll be sure to tailor the report to your needs and interests. And we're, as mentioned many times before, we're really off and running with CKLA, the new elementary literacy curriculum. Beth Nelson is thinking about ways to sort of augment the implementation. There's some grants that are available to us from the governor's office that we're looking at, and then some professional development opportunities for the leadership teams as well. Title grants have been received, Title I, II, and IV. And as we projected during budget season, Title I came in about $137,000 less than FY24. We've already accounted for that, obviously, during the development of the budget. Ruler implementation, I give you some information on that. K-8 schools in classrooms are utilizing the Ruler Charter tool. It's a way to develop some shared agreements at the classroom and school level, so we're excited about that. Substance use lessons are being revised and ultimately implemented in our K-5 classrooms, consistent with what is required. Special education, new IEP is we're off and running with that. Professional development is ongoing. I'd mentioned to the committee that sometime in February, we will experience a DESE review called an Integrated Monitoring Review. It's essentially an audit of our special education practices. So as that's ongoing, we'll keep you updated and obviously share the results of that with you when they become available, probably next year. Technology, shout out to our tech director, Antonio Pagan, and his team for installing a new firewall, and it's a great additional protection for the network and for our users. And I may have mentioned at your last meeting that we are also moving towards the implementation of Securely Classroom. It's a tool that will allow classroom teachers to monitor and manage kids' Chromebook use. So we're excited about that. It'll take some time to implement that, and there are layers and layers of tools that we can implement over probably a few years. But it would give teachers sort of a thumbnail view of students' Chromebooks, and they can manage the sites that kids are on really efficiently. So that is coming soon to a classroom near you, I guess. Couple of dates. Center School Playground ribbon cutting was scheduled for Thursday. We had to move it to October 8th for the Center School Playground ribbon cutting. Wolf Swamp, they are in the process of hydroseeding and cleaning up the perimeter of the playground, but it appears like it will be released next week. Is that fair to say? So we're excited about that. We'll also do a ribbon cutting at Wolf Swamp at some point. So grateful to the committee for spearheading and helping lead that initiative to get the new playgrounds at each of our elementary schools. Great project, awesome endeavor. Concert season coming up, LHS Chamber Concert on the 22nd. And if you're available, school committee, we'd love to have you at the Leaf Awards ceremony. It will be held on the 24th, October 24th at LHS at 3:30. So if you're able to, you can mark your calendars. We'd love to have you there. It's a great celebration of all the creative projects that Leaf energizes and fuels and funds. So a lot there, but happy to answer any questions that you might have.
All right, other administrative reports.
I have a question.
Yep.
I was just curious. I was looking over the dates. There's no school October 3rd, and it says Rosh Hashanah. Is that for Rosh Hashanah?
Rosh Hashanah, yes, it's on Rosh Hashanah. That's on Thursday the 3rd.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
And there's no school on October 14th.
That is Columbus Day, Indigenous Peoples' Day.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was just curious because there would be school on Yom Kippur then.
No, if it falls on a school day when it's
Isn't it Friday?
recognized.
I thought it was the
think-
11th.
I'm assuming it's sundown on Friday that the observance begins. But we can.
You're right, it is.
Double check
Okay.
us on that if
Yeah.
that's okay.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure because I was like,
Yeah.
2 days later. Okay,
All
never
right.
mind. I apologize.
Okay,
Yep.
no, we always want to get that right, so thanks for double checking on that. And our chair had to step out, so.
Yeah. Any other questions? Superintendent report? All right, student representative report. Andrew's not here, so no student representative report. LPBEC?
No report.
Yep.
Seal, or energy and sustainability, sorry.
Nothing other than we have a meeting on October 10th.
Wonderful. Seal?
Yeah, so the next meeting for SEAL is on October 16th, and it's going to be a presentation. You can come in person here in the special ed office, or you can come on Zoom, and it's going to be a presentation with Dr. O'Shea about the middle school building project and the district improvement plan and how it relates to special education.
All right, wonderful, thank you. Subcommittee reports, no report from finance. Policy sub update, Michaela, back to you.
Policies JIE and ACAB are posted to the district's website to solicit public input. They will come back to the committee for approval during your meeting on October 22nd, 2024.
All right, great. We have no other subcommittee reports and no ongoing business, which brings us to our new business, talking about English language learners.
Good.
Please go on.
This is
Thank you.
Nazir Azari. So Nilda Azari is our Director of Student and Family Support, and she might be making her way up, and there she is. All right, welcome. Nilda, I'm going to pull up your slide deck.
Welcome.
Go. So a familiar face by now to the committee and the community. Nilda Azari is our Director of Student and Family Support, and Nilda has been a great leader of English language learner services, and it was really one of the goals of our central office reorganization, and when the Office of Student and Family Support was created, was to ensure that we were equitably and adequately and appropriately serving English language learners. And so we have, like many communities, experienced an increase in students needing English language learner services, and Nilda's here to talk to us about that tonight. We have a recommendation for you, but it's also an opportunity just to maybe step back and take a broader look at how we support the increasingly diverse needs of the LPS community. So thanks for joining us, Nilda.
Thank you. So I'm Nilda Azari, the Director of Student and Family Support. This is one of my favorite topics to talk about, especially because it's so personally connected with my identity and who I am. I was raised with 2 Spanish-speaking parents, did not speak English, and through targeted support through Springfield Public Schools, I was able to gain proficiency in early elementary years and then obviously go on to graduate from Columbia University. I'm not bragging, but it's the American dream, it's the American story, so I'm really proud of that. And that's something that I hope for every child, that through that structured and targeted support, they can continue to excel in Longmeadow Public Schools. This program has really been bolstered by Janine Preston, who was our ELL coordinator. She's established the program. She's supported our ELL instructors. We have 3 total teachers, but Janine has been the lead in getting students scheduled, in providing the teachers the support they need, the professional development, and ensuring that our families feel welcome once they arrive. So one of the slides talks a little bit about our growing diversity, and this slide certainly does not reflect all of the diversity that exists here in Longmeadow. So we've seen an increase in our Hispanic and Asian enrollment over the past 10 years. And we know that the Asian percentage doesn't reflect all of the countries, all of the languages that are within that 10.5%. Currently, Longmeadow is higher than the state average for Asian student enrollment. The state average is about 7.4, we're at 10.5. And then we've seen our Hispanic enrollment increase as well. So we know that we believe that diversity is an asset. I think the school committee and Dr. O'Shea are always supporting things that are related to diversity and equity. So this is exciting to me, and it should be exciting for all of you to see that we have families that are moving to Longmeadow that continue to see our schools as a great opportunity for their families. So as of June, and I put June here, but really it was August through September, and Diane is here and she helps register some of our students so she can attest to the influx that we saw this summer. So we had 11 new students identified for ELL testing and support. These 11 new students do not represent different families. They might be a few students from the same family. But with these 11 incoming students, we noticed that there is now a need at our elementary level, specifically at Blueberry Hill and Wolf Swamp Road, because students entered with emerging proficiency. So when they enter with emerging proficiency, that means that they not only need their classroom teacher who's offering high quality instruction. We follow the sheltered English immersion model, where language instruction is happening all the time for all kids. Our teachers are culturally proficient. They are teaching linguistics in many different ways. We are using CKLA, which helps, and they have an aspect of it that's essential for English language learners. But it doesn't negate that these emerging proficient students still need targeted support. That targeted support looks sometimes like one-on-one targeted support or a small group where an ELL teacher who is certified to do this will pull them aside and then give them some targeted instruction so that they could accelerate. The best part about our English language instruction is that our students do show proficiency increases within 3 to 5 years. So the majority of these students that enter with emerging proficiency leave proficient and no longer need the ELL support. So we're doing what we need to do to support our students. We have 41 students across the district that need ELL support, and that could look differently depending on the student profile. And then we still are required to monitor formally limited English proficiency students. So that means they've tested out of ELL services, but it's still our responsibility to monitor how they're doing in their coursework. That includes connecting with their teachers, offering any interventions if needed, looking at their academic grades and saying, like, are they doing well? Even though they tested out of this targeted support, we're not going to just let them flounder and struggle. We're going to ensure that they're still successful without that structured support. The languages that are spoken, I just decided to type them in just so you can get an idea of the diversity that we have. When families register to enroll students, they identify their home language, and I took these from our home language surveys, the ones that most recently came in. And that is something that, you know, all Longmeadow parents and families should celebrate, that they have this level of diversity in their classes. Their children, I'm sure, are going home with different experiences, different cultures, different stories. So it benefits us all to have this level of diversity. I just wanted to speak to the levels of proficiency and how that equates to staffing for students. So if they enter in an entering level or emerging level, that means their access level, their English proficiency, they score it at a level 1 to a 2.5. And the state recommends how many hours of targeted ELL instruction they should get. So that equates to about 2 hours and 15 minutes of ELL instruction. That's what's recommended as best practice, not necessarily regulated, and it may look different. It may look like a morning 30 minutes for literacy and then an afternoon targeted support in some kind of like sentence writing. It could be going over common idioms with students that need additional expertise or additional practice, but that they would get in totality approximately 2 hours and 15 minutes. So that one student throughout the school day could be with that one teacher several times throughout a day. And then the hours decrease with your developing proficiency, and you would be more and more with your classroom teacher or with your content area teachers if you're at the middle level, or in your subject area courses if you're at the high school. And I just wanted to emphasize again that our teachers are some of the most amazing teachers that I've seen. They all support English language learners, whether they need the targeted support or not. So here are just some quick things that they do. One is developing language support throughout the classroom. They may have a word wall in their classroom that's related to scientific concepts. It may be related to art concepts, and they leave those words on the wall so that students can continue to learn and grow. We believe in inclusion, development, mentally appropriate supports and assessment, Our practices are all research-based. In Long Meadow, we don't purchase a curriculum unless it's evidence-based. And specifically, the CKLA and Bridges have already been targeted for helping ELL students. We follow the compliance with DESE standards, so we routinely adjust our protocols and practices to ensure that students are getting the targeted hours that they need. And then we collaborate closely. So the ELL educators work with the classroom teacher, connect with the families, and then we ensure we have everyone included on the student support plan. And then our program does have positive outcomes and reviews. We are going to receive a visit from the state in December. They're coming to check in on our program and ensure that students are growing and accelerating. And I'm really proud of the program, and I'm sure they're going to be pleased. This slide, it is complicated, but what I was trying to show is that if we have 11 students that enter our district, no one student is the same. So it's similar to looking at every student as if they have an individualized learning plan. So student A, this is just an example. They have entering proficiency, emerging proficiency. They are going to need 90 minutes of targeted language instruction. When it's time for literacy and reading, you may have the ELL teacher there sort of coaching and guiding as that student moves through the lesson. There's structured groups, there's ongoing family partnership and engagement. Does the family need a translator at the meeting? Does the family need additional services outside of school? Tutoring outside? All those things are things that we think about and connect families with to ensure that they're getting everything they need. Student B is now developing. We may offer push and support during writing instruction. Maybe they're already aware of the speaking and listening component to language, but now they need some support because not all English is spelled phonetically. Some of it is, very different. So now this student is going to develop some targeted writing support, and we're going to continue to work with the family. And our goal for student B is now to decrease scaffolds and foster independence, give them the confidence you could do this, and sort of shift to that next level. Student C now is at reaching, which means the state said you've acquired enough English language proficiency, you no longer need that targeted ELL instruction, but we're still going to monitor your progress. We're going to ensure that the ELL teacher commits to a few classroom observations. If you need structured support, you are provided it, and if content area teachers have questions about your progress, they might be collaborating with the ELL teacher to develop some strategies to promote your success. So currently we have 3 ELL teachers, and our need is much higher now that we have students that entered at student A's level. So we need more of that targeted support and more of that push and support. And one piece that I would love to continue to do is to support the student C's. We have a larger group of students that have tested out, and Long Meadow's academic program is very rigorous, and I know these students are very capable and they could do the work. They just need a little bit more of that targeted support. And I just want to say that this is not a temporary support. In a lot of ways it feels temporary, but I do think the growing diversity is going to be something that we're going to have to reconcile with. We'll always be here. I think Long Meadow has many families that move in from Springfield College, professors that are living in town, doctors, medical professionals, educators, and these communities find Long Meadow to be a great place to raise a family. So I imagine that's something that's going to always stay. And then again, this is something that I found, and just certain things that I think about as a language learner, like if something's a piece of cake, imagine explaining that to a student, like why is that a piece of cake, and like going over how that came to be. I'm going to hit the books, please don't add fuel to the fire, it's time to break the ice, you don't want to miss the boat, and it's time to hit the sack. So all of these little phrases that we know are common in the English language, but just imagine a student in elementary school hearing all these phrases and thinking like, can somebody just stop and explain this to me? So that's part of the targeted language support. And then we have a language-rich learning environment. I typed up some of the words that teachers use all the time, like it's time to analyze, synthesize, develop, collaborate, work together, all those like school-specific words that are really, really hard to understand but commonly used in order to be a good student on any given day. And then the last slide, I just thought this was in Education Week. It says that learning how to teach multilingual learners makes better teachers because they learn how to diversify their strategies and they learn how to reach the needs of all kids, and they don't rely on just auditory teaching. They rely on multiple modalities, and couldn't all students benefit from something like that?
Thank you. The service gap that Nilda has described is one that we really need to address. Our recommendation tonight would be to add an additional either half-time ELL teacher, certified Unit A teacher, or the sort of an equivalent budgetary commitment would be a full-time academic tutor. The solution to this service gap really depends on what the applicant pool looks like. If we went the route of the academic tutor, then that person would be deployed more towards doing some of the monitoring and observation work that Nilda talked about. If we had the ELL instructor, the halftime ELL instructor, they obviously would be more engaged in direct ELL instruction. So that's for your consideration tonight. And Mr. Mazza, I'm certain, could explain the budgetary implications for us. So happy to answer any questions about the service gap that we've identified that we want to fill, or anything about supporting ELL students in general. I thought Nilda did a great job, so happy to answer any questions you have. Or
I have one question. Is it still, to get certified as an ELL teacher in Massachusetts, do you just have to pass the MTEL, or is there more to it now?
For you would pass the MTEL and be certified in the TESOL, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so
Just, oh, did you have another?
No, go ahead.
We talk about the, likelihood that we are going to have continuing and hopefully increasing needs, with this program. Talking about the budgeting, we hear the recommendation for, a half-time instructor or a full-time tutor. Is that really just to cover things now, or is that looking for expansion to be able to handle future needs of the district? Or are we thinking that there would be, further staffing requirements needed in the future?
So I think that addresses who we are currently and our current needs, and then we won't necessarily know, because typically we make staffing requests based on projections.
Mm-hmm.
And last year when we came with staffing projections, we certainly did not think we would have 11 new students over the summer that would need additional ELL services. So this is a very hard thing to staff for, because it essentially is a moving target.
Mm-hmm.
Could we always use ELL support? I would say yes, budgetary wise. I don't know if that's fiscally manageable, but I do think the 0.5 is to manage what we currently have
For today.
Especially that need at the elementary level, and that need will stay there because there's no way they're going to be, we have an entering proficiency student.
Mm-hmm.
We currently have 4 total at Wolf Swamp and 1 at Blueberry. It's not like if we get a 0.5 magically they're going to be at reach. We hope we're able to quickly do that, but typically it takes 3 to 5 years for them to be able to acquire enough English proficiency to be able to work independently without that targeted support. So I do think that 0.5 helps service who we currently have in our schools.
Yeah, I think Nilda did a nice job summarizing that. I think
Mm-hmm.
it's for the needs we know of today.
Yeah.
And again, when we built this budget back in the winter of last year, we had no idea. I mean, even in June, we didn't know this need was going to exist.
Right.
So it's hard to say exactly by the end of the year where we will be and what our needs will be. We're hopeful that with the 0.5 or the support position, it can support the students. I think the applicant pool might determine which direction we have to go. With the school year already starting, a 0.5 position, I'm not sure what kind of candidates will be out there to fill that portion of a position.
If you did that full-time tutor, how would you cover the elementary needs? Those like emerging learners, would you shift services or?
Yeah, I think we'd probably have to make some decisions about staffing and, putting the available resources where they're most needed. So the tutoring resource would probably be committed to the students who just need the observation. Some of them are at the elementary level, but it is it's a bit of a Rubik's Cube trying to put together, arrange schedules for the students who are stretched out over 4 buildings, so.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, like, is it totally interchangeable? Like, if you hire the academic tutor, you just kind of shuffle things around and then the elementary emerging needs are covered? Or is it like, we get the tutor and that would be helpful, but next year we'd still need somebody to cover those elementary school? Would we, try to hire on like a normal cycle for the ELL?
For the 25, 26 school year, would we be in a place where we'd want to hire a full-time? Again, I think it really depends on, the enrollment patterns and what we need. I think we try to develop staffing that's related to the needs. Do we anticipate that need will grow in this area? My crystal ball would say yes. But where it's going to grow and
Right.
when
But
when that's going to surface is hard to say.
Yeah, I know we can't predict whether it'll grow. I'm just trying to get a sense of like whether they're truly equivalent in terms of like if you get what you can take, if you take what you can get with the academic tutor, is
Right.
it still not quite going to fill the need because we can't shuffle
Yeah.
that much around?
Yeah.
Can we ask you that unfair question?
I would prefer the ELL tutor
Okay.
to offer that targeted
Teacher.
support.
The teacher.
Sorry, the ELL teacher that could offer
Okay.
the targeted language learning support, because they would be certified and best equipped to support. But the full-time position, you may get more candidates. So it is challenging, but the need really is the English language learner teacher to support the elementary students that are at emerging proficiency.
And Julie, I think we're putting forward both options in case we're not successful in hiring the candidate as a certified teacher. We have the tutor as a fallback without having to come back and delay the process even longer. Our thought was if we could post both positions kind of as anticipated openings, see what kind of candidates we get, and then proceed based on what works best for us. If we have a candidate that fits the certified 0.5 position, then we would want to move in that direction. But if not, it allows us to move quickly with at least some support and then figuring out schedules and where they're best could be utilized.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm just trying to understand, like, if they're not in equivalency, like, there's a possibility that we could try the academic tutor and find we still have the same need, even without adding to the number of ELL kids. We could come back the next year and be like, we still need the ELL teaching support.
Yeah.
Which is like, I'm not arguing against that.
Yeah,
just,
in which case, we probably would pull back on the academic tutor position, right.
that makes sense.
Since Jamie's not here, what are we looking at for the numbers?
I mean, it always depends on where we hire somebody. So
Okay.
knowing that, by the time we post it and hire somebody, you're going to miss 20% of the school year, give or take. You're with a 0.5 position, you're probably looking at somewhere between $30,000 to $40,000. So,
Okay.
and again, a tutor would be less even at a 1.0 position
Oh, okay.
because of their salary schedule is different than our certified teacher, our Unit A positions.
Okay. We know there's so much money in the budget.
So tutors aren't certified at all to teach?
They, sometimes they come to us as certified teachers. It might be someone looking to, essentially break into Long Meadow Public Schools, but it's not a requirement of the position.
And I just want to be mindful that when we do talk budgetary, like, constraints, that we are, like, and just in case we have any of our families that are tuning in, I want them to know that obviously we are always interested in supporting targeted student needs. Like, we wouldn't say to a student who needed a ramp, like, do we have money for the ramp this year? So I just don't want anyone listening to think that we're definitely seeing the need, and that's why we're here today, to make sure that they get the support that they need.
Well, like, we have legal requirements to support ELL students,
Yeah,
right? It was
yeah, I
almost
mean-
like not a choice in the way that some other things are a choice, right?
And it's a service area that's receiving more scrutiny, as Nilda mentioned. It will be part of the DESE audit that I referred to earlier. There's actually a civil rights component to it as well. And so we'll need to be sure that we're appropriately staffed and appropriately serving kids. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think anybody here is saying that they don't want to support or like add but we just want to find out what the best way to move forward is, and seeing this as something that we may have to revisit in the future.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, that's why I was thinking like, oh, if a tutor came in, it's so easy, you can just take the MTEL and become certified. That's what I did. So, you know, if they were
Yeah.
already certified to
Yeah.
teach, then they just have to go take that one test and then they have the certification.
We've had folks that have started with us as academic tutors, and they're working their way towards certification, and they're acquiring the PD that they need to become a certified teacher. Yeah, that happens. Yeah.
And that's something we could certainly do, like help certify, help support.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
But at this time, it seems like because we don't know who's going to be out there, that we should move forward in both directions in the hope that we can support this in any way we can. Okay.
And I'll be honest with you, just a personal note, I was a special ed teacher and I wouldn't have thought to become an ELL teacher. It wasn't like something I started and thought I would do. And somebody was like, oh, I think you should go get this certification. And I did it and switched positions and I really loved it. So I think it's great if you could get the best candidate and then help them, train them, and like taking the MTEL, you know, you could get all the information you really need. If you pass that test, you'll have all that information you need to really give that targeted instruction.
Thank you. I did not know that about you. That's wonderful.
Yep.
So our chair is in here.
Oh, yes. So now we're moving on to transportation and busing.
Well, we would need a motion and an
Oh, it's
approval.
not on here, so I
Yeah,
wasn't
we
sure.
we didn't provide the verbiage
Oh,
and
okay.
suggested verbiage, but it would be to Tom's always helpful with this.
Yeah, I mean, so it would be a motion to approve the addition of a .5 ELL teacher or equivalent 1.0 support staff position to the 24-25 budget.
Did anybody get enough of that? I can try it.
I think you can say it so moved, and I can fill Diane in.
I moved to, what was it? A point?
Yeah, the school committee approved the addition of a .5 ELL teaching position or
Okay, I moved to approve the addition of a .5 ELL teaching position or
the equivalent of a 1.0 support staff position to the 24-25 school budget.
the equivalent of I don't know why I can't do this. The equivalent of a 1.0, what was it, support staff position to the 24-25 school budget.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second? All right. Julie?
Yes.
Zach?
Yes. Yay.
And a yes for me too.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Okay, now transportation. and busing.
Transportation, yes. All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes,
So
thank
nice
you.
meeting with you.
Thank you. So this next item is informational and doesn't require any action necessarily on the part of the school committee. But, this year, there's, I'd say, in many communities, a greater focus on transportation. Like many communities, we've experienced some scheduling challenges largely due to a bus driver shortage at the LPDC and again, probably a nationwide shortage. In fact, there's been some discussion with some LPVC districts, with the governor's office on trying to provide some relief in this area. So for that reason, for, some of the discussions relating to our middle school project, and even, I'd say, what we are, at least anecdotally, could point to sort of new home-to-school commuting habits that maybe have arisen since COVID. And so, given this, we thought it might be helpful to just share some of the busing basics with the school committee. And so there's a document in your packet that provides some background for you, and it explains the students at which schools are eligible and which grade levels are eligible for fee-based transportation, and where free transportation is available to students. So you'll see that students who live more than 2 miles away from school and are in grades K to 6 are eligible for free transportation. And again, tonight we're only talking about regular education transportation. This is not meant to be a discussion of preschool transportation or special ed transportation or METCO transportation. So this chart sort of breaks it down, and I won't go through every detail here, but you'll see how many students access fee-based transportation in grades K through 6, and how many access fee-based transportation in grades 7 through 12. And then even students in grades 7 through 12 are eligible for fee-based transportation if they live more than 2 miles. Some sort of basic additional information for your consideration. Annually, we have about 275 to 300 students who are registered for bus transportation, and I use the word registered intentionally there. This is not to say that every day 275 or 300 students ride the bus, but that's simply the number that is registered. We have, obviously, as I mentioned, transportation services are provided by our educational collaborative. Tom works with the collaborative to design routes that mainly run and stop on main arteries for efficiency purposes. The increasing costs associated with transportation, I think, have been well documented and even reflected in our budget. This year, with the LPVC, we have rolled out the My Ride K-12 app. It allows parents to track their children's bus so that they know if the bus is running late or arriving early. And we're not a community that is dependent on regular education busing. We only run contract for 4 buses, regular education buses, with the collaborative. Speaking with the Hampden-Wilbraham superintendent earlier today, and I think there are somewhere around 38 buses to serve a comparable sized district. So we're fortunate that we have an infrastructure of roads and sidewalks and crossing guards that allow for commuting to and from school. We have 2 tiers. The first tier runs to serve Longmeadow High. 3 buses serve the students who access fee-based busing at LHS. And then at the second tier, we have buses that serve Williams, Glenbrook, and Wolf Swamp. There are no buses that serve Center, no regular ed buses that serve Center and Blueberry. And each bus that's added to the fleet here in Longmeadow costs $72,000 and change, and that's reflected in the FY25 budget. Tom works with families to collect those fees and establish wait lists if needed. We do provide relief to families with financial challenges if the fee is a problem for them. So we just wanted to kind of get this information out there as sort of baseline information. Our sense is that the committee might want to take up some discussions on busing, if not now, perhaps some point in the future, particularly as we look forward to a new middle school potentially in a few years. So for your information and your consideration, if you have any questions, we'll do our best to provide answers, or if there's additional information that you're interested in, we certainly can gather that and bring it back to you at a future meeting. So for your discussion and information only.
Any questions or comments?
I know we heard from some parents early in the year about buses arriving late. Like, how much has that tapered off?
Wanna speak to that?
Or is it
Yeah.
not tapering off?
No, I think it's gotten a bit better, especially in the morning. I think the new app is helpful. I think the shortage that, with drivers that the collaborative is still dealing with, causes that problem. So I don't think it's as bad, especially as it was in the first week or so of school. I do think it's kind of helped settle down a little bit with new drivers, understanding the routes, students riding for the first time. It does, I think, the first 2 weeks of every school year are always challenging with many factors, busing just being one of them. So I think it's gotten better. I know in the afternoon, we also had a lot of issues last school year with the buses being running late, specifically on the same route, which caused some issues for families. So hopefully the app will at least keep them informed, and that was some of the challenge. People didn't know whether the bus was coming or not, or when it was coming, to make other arrangements. So hopefully the app at least will improve on the communication between the collaborative and families.
Any other questions?
All right, thanks.
All right, yep.
Appreciate your time on that.
So we have no executive session. So we have one last recommended motion.
I move that the school committee adjourn the September 24th, 2024 school committee meeting.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? Julie?
Yes.
Zach?
Yes.
Adam?
Yay.
And a yes for me as well.
Thank you, everybody.